They broke the law. We allowed them to break the law. Then they broke the law a second time by residing here. Now you will break the law, we think, if you take the people who broke the law and return them to lawfulness by putting them back where they belong in their own country. That is illegal, but it wasn't illegal to allow illegal people to come in illegally. That's what they're telling.
Let's start off with the polls, because I think that's most interesting. Not the most interesting, it's pretty darn interesting, and I think it's in line with some of the things we've seen in the previous few weeks where Americans stand on the things that Donald Trump is doing. And I'm reading from this is a Harvard-Harris poll, shows overwhelming support for Trump policies. 74% support deporting illegals, 70% for closing the border, 69% for Doge, which is all these protests in the streets over Doge, 65% support banning trans men in girls' sports, 57% for ending foreign aid, 57% for reciprocal tariffs. That got me a little. I thought that would be higher, and 53% for drilling in Alaska. Drill, baby, drill. These things are resonating with Americans. Victor, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, and his popularity, Harvard-Harris had him 52-48, and some polls have him 50-50. I think Real Clear Politics, because they've got some of those insane left-wing polls, which I say insane because some of those were off 4 or 5 in the 2024 election, and as much in the 2020 election. It's counterintuitive because 24/7 NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, NPR, PBS, LA Times, Trump is sinking. He's terrible. He's horrible. And you look today, I've been very critical of the Wall Street Journal, but I mean almost what I do is I look at the news articles and they're all critical, and then I look at the group that writes them and I click on the names and I look at them and I see that most of them are from the other persuasion, the liberal progressive persuasion. So you would get this impression from the media that he's in dire straits, everything's falling apart. But there's two things going on. The public is reacting to things that they voted for and they want. And number two, we're not getting a balanced judgment. I mean, this same media told us that we were not in a recession with Joe Biden, even though he had 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. They now they're saying a recession is inevitable. But in early April and then the March inflation rate shows that inflation is not going up. Oil's going down. Job creation was more in March than anybody had expected by about almost 100,000 jobs. And it looks like they're going to get a budget bill through. They're making some progress on Doge, and it's kind of good that it's not in the headlines every day now, because they're just quietly cutting things that needed to be cutting. And I don't know what you'd say about the border. I think the worst thing that Biden did, or any other president in my lifetime did, was welcome 12 million people in here and deliberately broke federal immigration law by not enforcing it. And that's over with. And we were told day after day by Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, you have to have comprehensive immigration reform. You don't. You just needed somebody to enforce the existing legislation. And it stopped. 98%. It was just the most radical change in our lifetime to see a border that had 10,000 people a day have almost nobody. And that nobody, and then with Houthis, they were saying, this is unfair. Donald Trump just hit us again, and we hadn't done anything this time. I mean, for 4 years, they said the Red Sea is ours, and they killed people. They sunk ships. They took the entire world's commerce and rerouted around the Suez, almost as if we were 15th century in galleons going around the Cape of Good Hope. And now all of a sudden, why are you doing this to us? We're not going to do anything anymore. And all of a sudden Iran is well, we would like to talk, and all of a sudden Hezbollah is, I don't know, and where is Assad? He's disappeared, and I can see Putin. Trump goes back and forth. If he thinks Zelensky doesn't want to, he says start talking. If Putin doesn't, he says we have other things to do to you, Vladimir, like a secondary boycott of oil. So the world is not falling apart here or abroad, as the media says, and the people know that, and so that's why they're voicing a sense of confidence, and that's why the Democratic Party is in this turmoil. They don't know how to handle it, and the older leadership, Chuck Schumer. Is there anybody else besides him in that leadership? I guess Elizabeth Warren, but she's with the Jacobins. But they don't have any vision. They don't. It's like you mentioned Gavin Newsom. They don't come out with an alternative agenda.
If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our latest content.